Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you to my session, Banking for Digital Natives. I would like to welcome Srivaths from Spice Money and Ratan sir from Central Bank of India. I would request them to, introduce you guys to the audience, and if you would like to tell something about your organization, you can tell.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Srivaths Varadharajan from Spice Money, Chief Operating Officer, Tech Digital Data and Design. Quick background about Spice Money. We are India's largest rural fintech organization, and we represent in around about 2.5 lakh villages, or 6.5 lakh villages, which is there in Tier 3 and Tier 4 location. Our primary business model is into payment solutions. We are into lendtech and also into travel tech business. We got around about more than 1.1 million merchants through whom we serve entire Tier 3, Tier 4 locations. And we have got around about more than 10 million customers who have transacted through our ecosystem that we have provided. Primarily, we actually create the ecosystem for Bharat in terms of financial services through a digitally assisted mode where we reach and serve the end consumer through our merchant points. And the products are like you've got DMT, APS, cash management solutions. We are also into IRCTC, air tickets, and also into lendtech for MSME, especially the merchant points through whom we serve the end consumers. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm Ratan Kumar. I head IT for Central Bank of India. And we are into digital transformation, as we say, that and our bank in specific, the focus has been and is at present is into a massive digital transformation exercise which we are undertaking. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Ratan sir, for you, why do you think banking for digital natives is important from your bank's perspective?
A very nice question and a very pertinent question. Why the banking for millennials is the focus? As we say, India is a country where we have around 400 million millennials, as we speak, are on the working age. And of that, 70% of the household income is coming from these millennials. That's one of the reasons mainly that this has become a focus area for everyone, whether it is banks or whether any financial institutions or mutual funds or any other financial systems. Millennials have become the focus area because they are going to drive the consumption in India as of today. And they are the people who are having the purse as we speak. So they have become the focus area for the banks and various other organizations as well.
Thank you, sir. Srivaths, for you, how different is rural market in comparison to urban market in terms of adoption of digital financial services?
Right. In terms of adoption, significantly if you see in Tier 1 and Tier 2, the large amount of digital ecosystem adoption is self-adoption because of deep penetration of smartphones which are there. But if you actually look from a financial inclusion perspective, 61% of population is there in rural India. And that is where the financial inclusion actually kicks off. And if you look at it, the smartphone penetration is not beyond 45 to 50% out there. Which means there is a significant amount of digitally assisted ecosystem that is created in Tier 3, Tier 4, like people like us. Now we are the market leaders and we are the people who hold the market share for all this digital ecosystem in rural India. So what we have done is we have created a merchant points where the average age group of these merchants are between 25 to 35. Around about 40 to 50% of them, and the remaining are the experienced people from 35 to 45. Now these are the guys who are digitally so savvy that they have used our platform to serve the rural masses, and that's again segmented into two areas. There is one part of rural India which is digitally native, which is the recent generation, which plays a catalyst role for the older generation and support them and assist. But the large part of rural India depends heavily on this ecosystem, the merchant ecosystem. Now, if you look at their primary business, most of them are into either kirana store or digital stop, where 20% of their business becomes financial services business, which gives an uptick into their income as well. How savvy are they in terms of adapting the digital ecosystem of financial services? They play a significant role to the extent that we do design calls with them. They come and very clearly in the design thinking calls, they say that these are the different number of products that appeals to rural India, and these are the number of clicks, and this is how the representation has to be there, because when there is a queue in his counter, it is important for him to have lesser clicks and faster resolution to be given, because this is not his primary business. So in terms of differentiation is phygital model for rural India and a digital model in urban India. The concept of branches do exist in rural India. The concept of trust exists to a very larger extent. So how does a trust factor plays a role digitally in financial services? Yes, if there is a brick and mortar branch bank that is available, the relationship management with the branch manager and the employees and him walking into that bank makes sense, but these banks are not available across all points. There is significant amount of distance that's available in square kilometers in terms of villages. So I'm talking about proper villages, right? In tier 3 and tier 4, which means who acts like a significant bridge between the banks to the end consumers is these merchant points. And what role we play is we provide a complete financial services platform which they use effectively to serve the rural India. This is the difference. Phygital model, digitally savvy. Other side, digitally savvy, branches are available, but they don't prefer to walk into the branches. The last time I visited the branch was 20 years ago. In fact, in last 5 years, I don't remember when I logged into my mobile banking. Post, you have got payment apps coming with UPI and interface and integration. You don't have to actually require a mobile bank. You can log into your phone pay, Paytm and other payments app systems where you can see the balance check and do the transaction. So significant difference in urban India. Mobile bankings are becoming obsolete and redundant, and more digitization is evolving in terms of super app kind of an ecosystem and interfaces. That's the difference.
And as you said, like you are having a significant share of AEPS transaction volume, and you know that AEPS market size would be at least 30,000 crore today. Similarly, it is growing each and every day, right? So, how are you designing your systems to cope up with this kind of scale, which is happening or you are getting from market? Yeah.
So there are multiple players in this ecosystem. You've got NPCI, you've got UADI, you have got banks, and you've got BC partners like us who connect to this interface. And of course, in the bank, when I say bank, it bodes, the issuer bank also plays a significant role as well. But what's the important catalyst is NPCI holds a very important interface out here. And from a banking perspective, the switch providers. So most of the bank, if you see in the balance sheet, this is more of a top line. It's not a bottom line, and it doesn't play a very significant role to their numbers. So they significantly outsource their complete technology activity to a third-party switch providers, and that's how they operate it. And what we do is we connect to the banking switch, NPCI, UEDI, and then further create platforms. And of course, in the backend, their ecosystems are connected to the banking. So this is how the ecosystem is built completely in terms of digitization. All this transaction, can you believe it, so many hops which are there happens in micromilliseconds. And especially the challenges actually comes, which the industry has evolved over a period of time now, is when you have a direct benefit schemes getting announced, right? Like you're going to have a direct benefit scheme getting announced in 27th. So significantly when the schemes gets announced, our merchant point becomes a critical portion for serving the end rural customers. And what happens in the backend ecosystem is huge amount of transaction data that flows on to the banking ecosystem, UADI, NPCI, and the switch providers has to be up and running. Any one of the chain breaks in this entire ecosystem, it will be a huge dissonance in the market because the farmer who is waiting in the queue, there's a huge queue. If you go to rural India, you must visit rural India during DBTs, right? It's a huge queue that stands in the road to withdraw that amount which is sanctioned and dropped into their bank account. So it's a very different place. So which means technology plays a very significant role, and every partner in this ecosystem not only should build redundancy, but also resilience in terms of their tools to work, their technology to work, their pipes to work. That's the importance of the entire interface.
Yeah, thank you, Srivaths. Ratan sir, as you know, with the rise of all the neobanks which are coming to the market, the what do you think, like, what is the expectation from millennials and how bank is preparing to meet their expectations?
Yeah, COVID has definitely shifted the people, especially the millennials, into the digital mode, uh, and the biggest gainers in the banking sphere is the most of the private sector banks have gained by that. We can see the rise in the PAPL loans, or we can see the rise in onboarding in the accounts and all. So even we have started moving towards that direction, because most of the millennials now have become more or like they are digital native, in the sense that whatever they do is they don't have time and they don't have patience. So visiting branch has become a kind of what you call resistance for them. And more importantly, convenience. So these are all the things which are the driving forces for us to consider the digital journeys for us. So one thing is that while there are certain things which we try to focus, mostly like hyper personalization. If a hyper personalization means, it is not that a foray of products are available in the sphere, but it is that what kind of product we want to pitch at what time and what context. So contextualizing the customer's request or aspiration and placing it in front, so that the consumption is there at the right period. I think that is one thing which is driving. So hyper personalization for cross sell and upsell has become a necessity now. The second thing is mostly is that we provide a convenience of journeys. The STP journey should be smooth, agile, and with few notches, we should be able to complete this journey. Instead of asking a huge number of questions or huge number of process related, we need to simplify this process so that they will be able to do the transaction at speed and at a very, very agile manner. So I think this is one thing which they would be looking at. The third important thing is that most of the youngsters, especially the millennials, they have a limited time for doing a research, for a financial advisory, and this is one space which is catching up fast. They have money to invest, but they don't know where to invest. And financial advisory is one thing is picking up, and it is very important for them for their future. So this is one space which we are trying to focus, how to provide a right set of financial advisory for them, and what kind of products and services would benefit them at what age, meeting their life goals. So this is another thing which we are focusing. The other important things like, say suppose, payment systems. Again, this has become a very important thing and very, very fundamental for all the business transactions which we do. Whether it is UPI Lite, or lots of payment systems, what options, whatever we have. Now, having these payment systems and payment ecosystems customized and smooth, I think that becomes a very, very important, so that whatever transactions which they wanted to do, it is done in the quickest possible time with few hitches. So these are the things which we are focusing while we try to attend to the digital millennials or digital natives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Srivaths, as you said, most of these rural customers are today transacting on AEPS or Card Plus PIN, right? So, what do you think? I think very recently NPCI have launched UPI 123 or UPI Lite just to target, offline customers, right? So, what do you think? What will be the impact on these rural customers, and how your organization is preparing for it?
See, it's inevitable to adopt UPI Lite and digitally assisted UPI model in the rural ecosystem, just because when you have to grow the country into $5 trillion and $10 trillion economy, the only way you grow is go out of paperless transactions. And the speed in which your transaction reaches to the B2B merchants or to the B2B, B2C merchants becomes significantly important. Of course, there is a cost that is involved in this entire interface, but it's worth investing that because for two reasons. One is because while you reach towards the goal of 5 trillion and 10 trillion, also your digital ecosystem and adoption needs to grow. And as this grows, also the growth of risk and fraud also increases. Why I'm touching on this point of risk and fraud is the adoption is not only about UI, UX, ease and clicks of button, but also how much you can trust that app and how much you can trust that ecosystem, or the assisted model becomes significantly important. Now, players like us, when we say that we've got 1.1 million merchants, all of them are eKYCs being done, verifications being done, and they have got a physical presence. They have a trust in that locality and serve the end customers in that locality. Now, unlike that, if you look at B2C transactions, standalone app, you are actually open to a lot of vulnerabilities. Your app has to be secured, one. Second, the merchant points where you're going should not fraud you. Third, sharing of OTP, using biometric in the ecosystem and silicon, which can, I can steal the biometrics and use it. So there is a lot of fraud you will be reading in the paper, in the ecosystem, especially in rural India, right? So you need to keep that in the context in the mind while going to the payment UPI transaction. So if you see, as an experienced person, when you use UPI, it becomes very easy. Once you do the setting your SIM and the phone gets registered, identification gets created, and then it's only 4-digit PIN that you put for any transaction. Now, this is too easy for a rural India to believe and trust that something of this thing can happen because they're not used to this. So then you need someone who coaches them, helps them to download. Now, in this entire thing, you must also understand there is a business model that's working on. So you got a lot of these merchants who earn commission out of serving the rural mass. So it's a trade-off that happens out here, and it will take another 6 to 7 years. Please, you must understand that it's not only about how the government is going very fast in terms of India stack, and significant progress have been done from them. The corporates are doing a catch-up. But you must understand that today we are still a cash economy. Till the time you don't have a lens of tax reforms coming in, and your 3% doesn't significantly, or 7% doesn't significantly move towards 80-90% paying tax, leaving GST aside, income tax, your growth of digitizations will be short-lived and it will be restrained. For your digital ecosystem to grow, your rural India to adopt digital ecosystem, and your cash footprint needs to come down. And that is one area which I think the government will have to play a significant role and introspect. While the economy goes 5 trillion, how digitally will it go, or will it go with the same ratio of cash to digital? The cash to digital ratio, still there is a big gap. Cash is significantly high. Getting that to a banking ecosystem, we made a couple of attempts a couple of years back, but you can't, the learning is that you can't do that attempt again, right? So then we need to really think across the ecosystem what are the levers that will be. So one is risk, fraud, initiatives towards cash abolishing, tax reforms, even those things plays an important role on this entire growth. That's how the industry will grow.
Thank you. So I would conclude this session by asking the same question to both of you. What do you think, like, what will be the role of fintech and what will be the role of banks, especially in the upcoming days? To start with Srivaths.
So if you ask my honest opinion, banks plays a very significant role, right? So India largely is a financial services economy, and banking actually runs the economy. How is the mode of operations will work is the way the digitization and the ecosystem is building. If I take a view of 1 decade, banks will become significantly strong in terms of risk, compliance, which they are because of RBI regulations, but will play a more role of treasury. Banks will get more into strategic acquisitions and will identify fintech plays, do investments on them, which will be doing more of front-ending, because the cost of operation is very high. Whether we like it or not, let me be very frank, the cost of operation is so high that's not a sustainable model at all. They can do more better balance sheets, balance sheet lending, and better management of treasury, and leave the speed, fast, agility of building technology and digital ecosystem to the fintech players, who are going to be nimble, smart, faster, and who will do the heavy lifting for the banks. So hybrid is a model. Both of them will coexist in the ecosystem, but whoever leverages this hybrid will give significant growth to their shareholders and return to their shareholders. That's how is my view personally.
Sir, your view.
He's spot on actually. See, banks, India is a country which is having around 6 lakh villages across the country. Okay, and it's nearly impossible for the banks to reach to the last mile. And it has become very important. Even after 75 years of freedom what we had, still we are yet to reach to the last mile of the connectivity. And this is, Fintech is giving an opportunity for us to do that. And do that with in a very, very minimal cost. So fintechs and banks, they need to collaborate together to provide these kind of services and products which have been deprived to a lot of the people who are there in the far flung. So fintechs play a very important role in the economy, social economy, I would say, in uplifting and making available the financial services to the vast section of people in the most cost effective manner. So they have the agility, they have the nimbleness, and they have the speed with which they can deliver. And both fintechs and banks will complement each other in providing these financial products and services to the vast section of the people. So going forward, I would say would be a very important collaboration for the growth of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was very, very informative. I would like to conclude by thanking Digital Fifth for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quickly take one question if time permits. We still have a couple of minutes on us. Do we have any questions? Yeah, one question, just one.
So my question is to you, Mr. Ratan. So since yesterday, in these 2 days, several panels have spoken about, making India digital and digital banking. So a lot of digital banking talk is happening. While I sit here, and I originally come from a small place, a small town called Rajahmundry, which is in Andhra Pradesh, and you can consider it a tier 3 or tier 4 town. So I know for a fact that in my town, until a decade ago, there was not even a private bank. All that existed was a couple of PSUs. And I know the mentality of people there. Even till date, for almost 60% of the population there, maybe 40% have adopted. And, they're going all about the advancements, getting, used to it. But 60% still are in the mentality where they don't even believe private banks, they don't even believe in digitization. And do you think that is a challenge for PSUs, when it comes to, is it more of a task for you when it comes to, customer adoption to new methodologies, new technology, and basically in the digitization process? And if that is a challenge, do you think it is a right thing to envision fully digital India? Are we preferring digital first approach or customer first approach?
See, everything which is getting, thank you for the wonderful question actually. It's, I first must compliment, let me answer in two ways. First thing is that it is digital first or customer first. Okay. So it is obviously the customer first. The need provides us an opportunity to serve. Okay. So the customer's requirements and the needs and the pain points are envisaged, and then solutions crop up. Okay, that is how the evolution has been so far. And it will be like that all as well. So the needs of the customers or the clients would determine what kind of solutions we need to bring forward. Now coming to the trust and the private sector banks or public sector banks, I think all the financial players, whether it is private sector banks or public sector banks or the financial institutions or fintech partners, all have been complementing each other's effort to provide products and services. So there is, all have a role to play here, and each have the niche areas where they cater to. So now, luckily so, in the current spectra, the penetration of internet and the penetration of smartphones across the country is so fast in India. I think it is so overwhelming to see that our country has been progressing so fast. Okay, if you see the density of the number of smartphones which are there in our country, or the penetration, the speeds available in the internet, these have been a tremendous growth. And this is a welcome feature. And these are the reasons why most of the digitization is able to progress fast. Because we are able to provide, like he said, in a UPI Lite or in some other products and services also, we are able to design the products and services and provide those services even on a feature phones. Okay, there are a lot of facilities for rural segments. In feature phones are also we are able to provide basic financial services as well. So these kind of services and the progression is happening so fast. And what would I say? So it is a win-win situation for all of us, and the progress has been tremendous. Still, there is a definite cultural divide. India is a vast country having different segments of population and different segments of customer base. We have a very elite and digital native customers, as well as to the far flung where we have very moderate related customers and all. So digital and semi-digital or physical, what they call very commonly, all these modes will survive together. And banks are striving and providing all these modes. They are not only going on the digital mode only. Semi or physical assisted modes, what we call. These are also been very prominent in India as far as in the rural areas are concerned. Including in urban areas also, these assisted modes are popular. So we are trying to cater and provide to different segments of the customers various methods to reach them and provide those products and services. So all these, whether it is a digital, physical, or physical and digital, all the modes are being made available now. Thank you.
Thank you. What an incredible and phenomenal session this has been. I think they truly deserve a huge round of applause for all those amazing insights.